Hey guys, welcome back to the Modern Prairie Homestead. My name's Andrew, and today we are going to be working on our chicken coop. As many of you already know, we're currently using a garden shed as our chicken coop, and it's exactly that. It's basically just a shell that we've got some straw in, a couple of nesting boxes, and some 2x4s for them to use as a perch. One of the problems that we're running into was it was previously set up for rabbits, so it's got lots of different openings for different little enclosures that were on the outside of the shed previously. And because of that, it's got a lot of areas where it's very drafty, lots of hatches on all four sides, windows on all four sides, big door, large gable roof. So it's very challenging to get any heat to stay in there. The chickens are doing okay, but we are getting lots of frozen eggs. So we want to fix that. We want to give them a happier environment. They don't love the snow as much as we thought they might. And being Alberta, we can expect anywhere from, right now we're at like -5 degrees Celsius, which isn't bad. It's actually quite a nice day. I'm just out here in a hoodie. Down to -35, -40 in February. So the plan is to fully insulate and poly the garden shed. We're going to put some plywood skirting around the bottom and then build some larger nesting boxes. Those boxes will be able to be reused in whatever building we want to use moving forward. But for this winter, I think it's going to be perfect. It's going to keep them cozy. It's going to keep them happy, protect the shed, protect the chickens, and protect our eggs. So step one, going to offload some of the materials I got behind me. I've got insulation, 5/8 ply, and 2x. Get that offloaded, organize our materials, go over to the chicken coop, start cleaning it out, and start with the insulation first. This is just some relatively cheap Johnson's R12 fiberglass insulation. I'm sure this may seem like overkill, and in a lot of ways for chickens, it absolutely is. But this is a multi-purpose shed that potentially come next season we could have heat in for other reasons. So if I'm gonna do it, may as well do it right so I don't have to do it a second time. Hi Cleo, that's quite the fort you're making. Yeah? All right, so step 2 is gonna be to evict the tenants that we have in here. I'm sorry guys, we gotta kick you out for a couple hours. Hey, oh, you look like you might be laying an egg. You can stay. The rest of you are gonna have to vominos. All right, guys, get your feed. Oh, settle down, chicken. Okay, watch out. Up, 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 up. Come on, guys, out, 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 out. Bring you guys right inside. So we have the rails out already. So now it's just to clean up all of the shavings and straw, and then start to clean the stud cavities for insulation. These are just some rubber eggs. Hey, don't be upset, guys. You're gonna love this when we're done. Watch your toes. So there's actually a vinyl floor below all this, which has worked out great. Just some cut off of an old floor. It's worked out great to keep the moisture from the chickens from rotting out the actual subfloor in here. All right, I'm gonna have to kick you guys out just so that I can finish up, because we are a little tight on space in here. We got all the bedding pack moved out of the way now. Swept out the stud cavities. Now I'm just gonna give them a quick vacuum, and then we can start insulating. Out, 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 out. It's okay. One of the prettier chickens, though, I'll give you that. Good looking bird. I'm gonna move you guys inside. We're not near done, but I think we're done enough to probably start. It might be nice to actually get one wall done. That way I can push some of this material up against it and then work on the other half. And then that way, worst case scenario, if things start to get cold, it is calling for snow this afternoon. Worst case scenario, if we get that, then we'll be able to bring the chickens inside to somewhere safe. So unfortunately, I thought I had a mineral wool knife. That's like a little saw. It's pretty sharp. That's designed to cut fiberglass insulation. Thought I had one. I probably do have one. I just don't know where it went. So using the trusty X-Acto knife today. It's not too much, so it's really not going to be a problem. If you're watching closely, this is probably not the best installation. This insulation itself is quite cheap, but the installation, these stud cavities, these aren't on perfect 16-inch centers. Insulation's cut perfectly, but I'm not going to go around and cut each one to be 100% perfect. If we're talking a 14, 12, 10, obviously I'm going to cut that to make it fit right. But when we're plus or minus an inch, I'm just going to stuff it a little bit and make it work. That's not the best for getting the most out of your insulation, but even best case scenario for this space is that it's not a chicken coop and it's a shed, and it doesn't need to be perfect. This isn't going to be someone's home. This is at best a temporary structure that we're going to try and get, you know, a decade plus out of utility use. So for the purposes of saving time and the spirit of the installation, we're just going to pack it in there as best we can using the tools we have and try and do a half decent job. Light and fluffy. Do not stuff it if you don't have to. I can't really think of a scenario where you have to. It's got to be in there, light and fluffy. The whole idea of insulation is it's holding air. If it's packed down, it's accomplishing the same thing, same R value that your plywood's accomplishing. You want it to be nice, thick, and fluffy. That's why thicker insulation in your ceilings and attics. If you have 2x6 or 2x8 walls in your home, or you're lucky enough to have that, that's great. When we're working with 3.5 inches on a 2x4 wall, you want to maximize that space, so don't be jamming it in there. If you put 2 pieces of insulation in that same space, you're probably accomplishing less than if you had 1 piece of insulation, capturing that hot air and spreading it out amongst that 3.5 inches, opposed to jamming it together. You're really not getting much heat if you do it like that. So try and keep it as light and fluffy as possible. And you guys know what you're doing. I don't know why I'm explaining it to you. Alrighty, so we are almost done. A little more vacuuming to get some of the cobwebs and dirt and dust out of here before I pack some insulation into the last few spots. I don't think I have enough insulation, nor do I really care to insulate the ceiling. I know that seems ridiculous because that's going to be where most of our heat loss is. But the ceiling has a membrane on it and shingles, or a roof does rather, and we're not really seeing close to the drafts that we're seeing from the walls that have dozens of openings, lots of joints, and no membrane. Like I say, depending what we use this building for come spring or come next season, we may do something different to the exterior as well. But we'll see. I mean, I might just put the 6 mil poly over top of the walls and right up and onto the ceiling, seal all the joints, and see if the heat is reflected a little bit better that way. Guaranteed we'll have less draft. That's the biggest thing. So the roll of poly that I have, of course, has to be a, I think it's like a 16-foot roll. Like it's an 8-foot roll that folded twice, so it opens up to 16 by probably 100 feet long. So it's quite a big piece. It was more economical to buy it that way, but I do this to myself all the time, and then it's that much more difficult to work with. I just roughly cut off probably 30 feet. Long, we'll fold it down, get the top going, and then cut the bottom off after we get it kind of tacked up. All right, so we are done with the poly and the insulation for now. Didn't get the ceiling done, but we got all the walls done. I'll spin around to show you. So all the walls are insulated, plastic is on, and we are ready to put some plywood skirting. I'm just going to put a 2-foot strip around the whole base. That way it'll protect the walls from the chickens there. Perfect. So we've got our 4 pieces, 8 feet by 2 feet. Bring them over to the chicken coop there, start measuring up our length. So the chickens have been just such good sports that I've been working in their space today, putting up with that. But they are getting grumpy. They are getting ready to get in. So I got about another hour worth of work to get all this plywood put on and get their bedding spread out again. Just temporarily throw the current nesting boxes back in and the 2x for night. So I got them some table scraps from the kitchen at home. Hopefully this will keep them happy and occupied. Hey guys. Ooh, look at all this good stuff. That way I can finish what I have to do. And they can hopefully stop barking at me so much. $40 3/4. 88 1/4. So we are just about done today, but it is starting to get chilly. The chickens are pissed at me that I am keeping them out of here. So I've got the skirting all screwed to the wall. One more cut to make, but I think we are ready to get the chickens back in here for the evening. I'm gonna try and keep their bedding away from the one spot that I still got to work tomorrow. But I think they're going to be very happy with this. And hopefully quite a bit cozier tonight. So tomorrow we're going to work on the nesting boxes and then build them a couple of perches for them to hang out on. So it's another day. Welcome to my garage. We are going to finally finish up those nesting boxes for our chickens. We got the chicken coop completely insulated, polyed off, so it's nice and cozy in there. They've got a couple new rails to sleep on, the lights reset for them, new hay and bedding, heated water bowl, the works. They are super comfortable, but what they need is proper nesting boxes, the ones that you guys have seen in our last videos. As I've talked about before, are a little bit too small, especially once we get some bedding in there, make it comfortable for them. So I'm gonna make some new boxes of the plywood. We're gonna make 8 boxes, close to 16 by 16, so pretty big, but once we get some hay in there, like I say, it'll shrink down, and these chickens are really fluffed up this winter, so they're taking up quite a bit of space. So I wanna make sure that it's a space that they actually want to be, which means less broken eggs and more breakfast food for us. So since it's cold, I'm going to do this work in the garage today. So I'm going to open up the garage, move the truck, and start bringing in some plywood. I don't want to lose my coffee back here. So unfortunately for me, I don't have my nail gun here, as it is currently in Ontario with my father. So unless he plans on coming to visit sometime soon, I either have to buy a new one or hand nail. So for the moment, I'm just gonna tack these together with some small, with the 1 3/4 nails, and then probably throw some screws in there to actually keep it together. And then hopefully come our next woodworking project, a new nail gun to use. Because this way kind of sucks, if I'm perfectly honest. It's gonna do 8 boxes, but I'm thinking that that might be too much space. It's about 20 inches between boxes, so I'm wondering if I can cut that down and get a 5th box in there, which would, I mean, always room for more chickens, right? I'll cut another piece, do a little more math, go from there.